Okay, I will talk English, and I hope you understand. Um, I hope indeed that you hear me. That's also important. So I'm glad to be able to participate in a meeting of the French Association for Applied Linguistics. So that's new, and I will present the ideas of the European Journal of Applied Linguistics. More or less, my story is more the same as the previous story, but the interesting things are in the details. So I will talk about also the policy of the journal. But I make more connection to AFLA Europe, which is part of AFLA, and I will also make some more general remarks on what we think is applied linguistics, especially for JAL. And AFLA Europe is, as you know, part of AFLA, but it is AFLA decided 10 years ago to regionalize the policy and make various sub associations, and AFLA Europe is one of them, and JAL is specifically connected to this AFLA Europe. But that's also interesting to discuss this cooperation, and I'm looking forward to your comment about this AFLA Europe cooperation. I shall also shortly introduce myself. I studied linguistics and Dutch language and culture in Amsterdam. I did my PhD in Utrecht on intercultural communication. Afterwards, I worked 6 years in Germany, in Chemnitz, Karl-Marx-Stadt. It was very interesting for intercultural communication. Afterwards, I was, for a long period of time, a coordinator of the Master Intercultural Communication. I became Professor Intercultural Communication, and as you can see, I retired last summer. I was rather active in applied linguistics. 10 years in the German association, also 6 years in the Dutch. And I was editor, I'm editor from the JAL from the beginning, together with Karl-Fritz Knap. And I'm also editor of a Dutch Utrecht Studies Language and Communication of Brill. Below you see some publications, especially the last two appeared last week by Brill on intercultural communication. So what is AFLA Europe? That's the association we are connected with. The aims is from the special issue that Gregory and Alexander Knach edited the last edition. To promote scientific exchange, enable people to cooperate internationally, regional cooperation. So that's an interesting difference between the AFLA review, which is very international oriented, and so support research project. And then we go to applied linguistics, more content. So the pluralism, flow between the partners, and the multilingualism and linguistics situation in the various countries, and the raise awareness also in the political level. For this, the highlight for our journal are the red flag things more important. And this is also has to do with the regionalization. So we are connected with Europe, and Europe is quite big, as you know, and so there are many different countries, and it is interesting how you can cope with these variation within Europe. What is our JAL free? We have 3 editors: Christian Bury, Stephanie Risse, and myself. And Karl-Fritz Knap, once he was the secretary of AFLA, and he made this journal. We're published by Mouton de Gruyter. We have, as the same as AFLA Review, 2 issues, more or less 320 up to 400 pages, also double-blind. Mouton has an open access policy, which is all in development, so it would be interesting to have some comments about you. When an author can pay 1,500 and then his contribution is open access, or we have had some special issues that were also organized by the guest editors as open access. We have an editorial board, and maybe you know some of these people. Karl-Fritz Knap already organized this, so this is our people that help us to review contributions, that suggest authors and give also some feedback to the editorial policy. But to be honest, we don't have that much of contact with the editorial board, which is a problem, but people are very busy. And so this is for very nice to have people available, but it is differently how they are really engaged. This is the adversarial board. So these are the affiliates from AFLA. And as you see, we have almost all European countries. Not all countries have an association. Poland has no association. So it's the Eastern European countries don't have that much of association. So that's an interesting topic that could be discussed. But France has an association, and it is also interesting to look at how the cooperation between the France Association and AFLA is going on. And Gregory has really did good work to initiate the cooperation, also making this special issue. And it is important to have this public and this audience available. When you are with an official publisher, you have this abstracting and indexing. I won't go into the details, but this is really a profitable thing that you have these means to get your publications in all kinds of systems that people know and that they are cited and quoted. So this is an important reason why we are with Mouton de Guiter. Then we have on the website you find the ranking. I'm to be honest, I don't know exactly what all these figures means, but as far as understood, we are not top, but we are mediated, and it is not very bad. But when someone has more details about this, you can find it, and it is in any case very important that we have this kind of ranking. We have a language policy of our own. Papers are in English, although we really are profitable multilingualism, but we have every article has 3 abstracts in different languages. Then English is one abstract, but the other abstract should be in other languages. So from a symbolic point of view, this is important to show that that we really promote multilingualism. And also with respect of writing, we don't take the native norm as the only standard, but it should be intelligible to a wide international academic audience. About the core business, what is applied linguistics? This is Karl-Fried Knapp. This is our founder. Today, applied linguistics, that's also long time ago, can generally be defined as a discipline that deals with the description, explanation, and solution of practical problems in life and society in areas of language and communication. These problems do not necessarily adhere to disciplinary boundaries. Existing linguistic knowledge is not always sufficient to deal with them. The quest for solution to problems means that applied linguistics often must go beyond the existing state of linguistic research. They have to develop new methods and theoretical concepts related to subject matters, while all referring to other disciplines. The distinction between theoretical and applied linguistics does become obsolete. So I think still this is an important starting point, that applied linguistics is not only thinking about applications of knowledge that has been developed by theoretical linguistics. No, we have our theories on our own. And actually this whole distinction between applied and theoretical linguistics is obsolete. But nevertheless, in Utrecht we have had a long tradition of Chomsky. So people working in the communication field and in the more applied linguistic field had always problems to be taken seriously. Nowadays, this distinction is not that much important, but there is still this kind of framework and these different directions. And I would be interested to hear how this is all being done in France, and how you can legitimize your applied linguistic point of view in research, but also in application. And I think for also for the people in the Netherlands, in the ANELA, this AFLA as an international framework and association to see that there is connection, that we are all sharing some same starting points, and is important to survive in modern times when you have to find your money to do your research. For JAL, and that was also a point that Carl Knapp made already, we focus on Europe, and we do that in different ways. We have applied linguistics for Europe and in Europe. And here you see the themes that are in our flyer for people to invite to write papers. And you can see, and actually when you look at the 20 volumes that we published, actually we have more or less these kind of issues that are addressed by our articles. And this is just for Europe, and we also have applied linguistics in Europe. Risse 2022 is actually referring to an article she wrote in the last special issue, where she reacted upon the editorial from our guest editors, and we see here which topics are now addressed when it is about applied linguistics in Europe. This European perspective is interesting. I would really like to have some comments about you. We got a lot of submissions from Middle East. And actually, it becomes clear that there is no Middle East AFLA, and they look for how to publish. And yeah, we have to withdraw them because they are not referring to Europe. And this is quite a distinction between AFLA Review and JAL, that as I wrote from the slides, in AFLA Review, when there is a specific reference to some country or a region, then it should not be published. We have the other way around. It should be connected to Europe, either in or for Europe, to be published. And when it's only about English in Middle East or in Iran or Iraq, it is not interesting for our journal. Here we have the special issues we published in the last 10 years. And so you see that's nice coverage of various different topics. It's about interpretation, it's about literacy, it's about computer-mediated communication, but also, and that's interesting, but also one of the things we discuss a lot with the editors, that language teaching is actually, from the tradition, a very important issue for applied linguists, but it's not the only thing. And so therefore we look also for other issues, and we invite people also outside education to publish in JAL. And therefore the new generation of applied linguistics, the final special issue that has come out this year, is the output of the 3 junior research meetings. And it's very interesting to see how not only education, but also other social domains are addressed in these articles. So when we look at how we manage to realize our objectives of AFLA Europe, we are promoting the exchange of scientific knowledge. And we are able to promote research projects. Could be better. We really address super diversity and language policies at national and EU levels. We have contact with European affiliates. Actually, we had a nice series of articles in every issue. Every volume, one association presents itself, and we are now looking for other means to have more connections with the associations in various countries, in order to raise awareness on a political level. I don't know whether people working in Brussels really have a JAL on in their office to read about language policy, but you never know, and you should be aware of this political function of the things you publish. What are we doing and what are we planning? Actually, this is the idea of when I prepared this presentation, that would be nice to propose to the general AFLA board to think about. I don't know whether it's possible, but to take this realization seriously and to set up an AFLA Middle East, because they are now connected to and try to address European people, but they have actually an expertise, and because we have a lot of submissions and we have to withdraw them because they are not connected to Europe. But definitely this is for AFLA in an international framework. It would be interesting to also to organize this region. We really hope also for other people in France to collaborate to publish special issues. There will be this AFLA conference in Lyon this summer, and we will be there, and we will organize a meeting with our editorial advisory board in order to strengthen our connections. And that's another issue that I really would like to have some comments, that we discussed that previously with Daniel Perrin. That only a journal nowadays is not enough. Actually, the new generation, you should also think about digital media communication means in order to have a more communication and interaction. But this is also quite intensive work. So the last years we were not able to set up these kind of things, and also we are in discussion with the Mouton de Gruyter whether they can also help us to set up these kind of Facebook or whatever other digital means that are nowadays so important. But you have to focus on your main and focus on your important things, and so it's an idea that we should elaborate on. And finally, I would be open for any suggestion or comments on the open access policy of Mouton de Gruyter. This is really a recent development, and you can have your own publication open access when you pay for it, but it's a lot of money. And we also have discussed the special issues that are open access, but it is rather strange that it costs so much money. But on the other hand, when you have all the facilitates things that the publisher give you, it is also important to see where this money is being used. But it is really an open development. So I don't know whether one of people of the audience would share their experiences in this perspective. Okay, thank you so much.